Welcome back to the game table. We're continuing on with scenario 1. This is the Courier Satchel. This is turn 2. One thing I am going to do, I'm going to go ahead and just add one of the battle cards. I was going to play with no battle cards, but it is a part of the game, so I thought, well, let's just add them in. So again, because I often lose track and forget that I have them, I'm going to just start with one. So I'm going to draw for the German player first, and German player grabs command action, one free action. A fresh or spent unit may take one free action of any cost, of free. Alright, so he just does an action. So I have a little spot that I'm going to put it where I can hopefully see it. It's off camera, but I'm hoping to remember it. Then we get the adrenaline card. Almost like a command action. Oh, but this one's for a spent unit. A spent unit may take one free action of any cost. So I'll do that. And if I spend one of the cards, I'll draw one. And I'll try to remember I have them and see what they do for us. Alright, so we're going to start here. Oh, I did read somewhere on like a website, someone had wrote up an AAR specifically for this scenario. And someone said that the Soviets, instead of taking a defensive posture, which is what I did, the Soviets probably should have been aggressive and assaulted the forest here and denied the Germans for taking it, because the Germans are taking advantage of that +2 defense. And if the Soviets had taken it, they may have been able to rush in there, especially if they had a card for like a free action or something. That definitely would have made things a lot more difficult for the Germans. So we'll, keep that in mind for the future. Try to play more aggressive with the Soviets and see what happens. All right, now I didn't do this at the end of the last turn. This is one of the, well, it's a pre-turn kind of a thing, and it's rolled for initiative. So the person that has the initiative, or let me see if it's the, I keep forgetting, it's a rule 9.4. I didn't want to pause it. I just thought I'd check this out real quick, see if I remember it. But the side that does not have VP advantage rolls 2 dice 6. They can spend up to 2 caps, but if they roll a 7, they can seize the initiative. Right now, the initiative was with the German player, and they have the victory point advantage at this point. So, Soviets roll a 4, so Germans retain the initiative. Yeah, I thought I had an initiative thing somewhere. Now I can't find it, but Germans started with initiative, but they'll retain the initiative. So, perfect. All right. I can move a couple Germans on. They're at the far, I guess that's the far east of the board. And we'll start with that. This here is wheat. And I do know that when it's wheat, in July and August missions, it blocks foot unit line of sight. I forgot, though, what year this mission was. Let me just check to see what month, I should say. July 4th. So this is July and August. It blocks line of sight. And then this is corn, which is August. It blocks line of sight. August and September. Okay, so right now this is, I guess, fallow, so it doesn't block line of sight. I would say probably, I rolled randomly to see where the Germans would come on, and I rolled that a German unit would come over here, but since this doesn't block line of sight, that would not be necessarily a smart decision. So I think probably what would happen, I know I rolled, but let's just say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll do by twos, because this is the modified fake. Let's do a die 6, because really they're going to come on where they have some protection. So let's see where 6 puts them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Puts them on the road. Well, I could see that they might come up onto the road, and then maybe move into the wheat. So they're going to start here. I'm going to go ahead and move this guy first. So they come on. Half hexes aren't playable, so he comes on to the first full hex. And I got to face him because the green is the facing. Now then, they said, let's come up the road. He's going to get a stress, and I am going to roll to see if they are spent. So it's only one action point to move. It's on a road. It's in the open. So he needs to roll a 2 or higher. He rolls a 7. All right, so he's got a lot of action left in him. Okay, now the Soviet player says, wait a minute. I see movement. And they look, and even though there's a little bit of trees in the way, since that's not what the center dot determines what the terrain is, that's all open. And that Soviet machine gun unit, they see Germans in the open. So maybe coming down the road wasn't the best option. Yeah, I had discussed that, and we said we would probably move off the road. They might not make it that far. So let's look at the defense. The defense, it's in the front, so it's 12. Well, you know, there's someone over here too that might be able to shoot. So they're going to get caught in a crossfire probably. Okay, so anyway, it's starting with a 12 defense. There's no terrain. So I put it on my little 12, and they have a firepower of 3, so that brings it down to a 9. 9 is still, I mean, you got to roll 2 dice 6. They're probably going to go ahead and spend 2 cap points. And that will make it down to 7. We find a 7 on here. I probably need something better to keep track. Alright, they're going to roll. Let's see what they roll. They roll a 4. Oh, even with cap points. Alright, so we got to roll to see if they get spent. Alright, well, they're going to put the exhaust, and their fire, when they fire, it's 3 action points, so they're going to need to do 4 or higher to not be spent, and they roll a 3. Not really off to a good start. I mean, it's not a terrible start, but you know, they were hoping to put some cover fire down. Okay, so with the Germans, they just got shot at, and it's like, oh, that's not good. So what we're going to do is get off the road and move here into this wheat field. Whoosh. Now, this still doesn't block line of sight. And the wheat field, does it give a DRM? 0 DR, so no dice roll modifier for defense. So they're going to have to move 1 deeper into the wheat. But they were like, oh, we're being shot at. Whoa. And they don't want that. But they got to roll to see if they get spent. Now, because there's no, I don't see a 0 AP movement either. They're just pushing through. Good. But because they were stressed, that makes that 1 extra AP. So they have to roll 3 not to be spent. Oh, good. They rolled a 3. They're not spent. So they move 2, and they retain the stress. Now, this unit over here is going to shoot. Now, they're not. Because they're just barely cutting through this hex, and it is a building hex. So they missed out on their opportunity to shoot. Probably what would have been good was maybe shot with this unit first and then try to shoot with that unit, because they would still be, well, no, because now they got a block line of sight. Well, 1 unit got to shoot at them, and then they disappeared into the wheat. All right, so yeah, we're back to the Soviets, right? Yeah, because I just moved him. That's right, they can't shoot. Well, this is bad. Yeah, maybe I should have shot, because now they're target. Well, then he's going to shoot here. Okay, so this is 12 on the defense, plus 2 for the woods. That's 14. Then they have 4 firepower, so that drops it down to 10. 10, 10, 10. And they're going to go ahead and spend 2 more cap points to drop it to an 8, which is right there. And they're going to open up. Brat-tat-tat-tat. They roll 7. I am not rolling good for them today. And they fire. It's 4 action points, so they need to spend a roll of 5 or higher to not be spent. They roll a 6. They are not spent. And because this maximum unit over here rested for a moment, the stress, they're now stressed. And then they are catching their breath and they're recovering. And it goes to the German player. I'm going to need to find me a little marker I can flip back and forth so I remember who I'm on. I'll just use this one here. It's a victory point marker, but I'm just going to set it off to the side. That way if I have to pause or something, I know where we left off at. Okay, so it's on the German initiative. And they're going to go ahead and shoot. Since this side here, they're still active. So we're going to shoot here. They're in a wood building, which gives them 1 defense. So they're going to have a defense of 13. And then their firepower is 5. So that drops it to an 8. And then the German player is going to spend 2 of his cat points. So he goes down to 4. And now he needs a 6 or higher. He rolls a 6. All right, so he's happy he spent some cat points. So now I'm going to grab my little baggie of potential damage here. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. And we draw. What do we get? Ooh, cowering. They're messed up. So this has got, it takes 2 more action points to shoot. To move is another action point. But they get 1 to their defense, both front and flank, and then they only have a range of 1. So if they can shoot, but they can only shoot adjacent, so they're cowering. So it's 5 action points to try and rally them. So I can try to rally them, but that's going to use, I'll probably spend them. But if they get hit again, they take damage. Okay, let's roll this real quick. So they fire, the German player is 3, so he has to roll 4 or higher not to be spent. He rolls a 3, so that does spend him though. So he won't be shooting again this turn unless he uses one of those cards he has. Maybe I can just leave this right there. I didn't want to cover the board with it necessarily, but I think you can see everything and dice roll right there. Perfect. All right, so now it's over to the Soviet player side. They're stressed. They might wait a second. These guys are going to move up since they know, they see here Germans are coming in this general area. He's going to move up so maybe he can have some line of sight. So he moves into that building here. And it's only 1 action point to move. Moving into a building is +1. So he's going to need to roll 3 or higher not to be spent. He rolls a 3. So they're not spent. So this unit took a moment to catch their breath. He just did an action. So he gets the stress. So the stress just kind of moves around the board. And then it goes to the German player. Yeah. Oh, you know what? We fired with them. I forgot to stress them. He's going to move 1 deeper into the wheat. And he needs to roll 2 or higher not to be stressed. He rolls a 3, or not to be spent. Okay, so now this guy took a moment to breathe because he took an action, so he's now stressed. All right, and then it goes back to the Soviet player, and he is going to return fire now. He's going to take a shot at them. So we're going to start with defense of 12 plus 2 is 14. Then this rifles has 4. Yeah, 4. So it's 10. We have 5. I was like, wait a minute. 4 seems... The machine guns have a 3. So the rifles are 4. So they're at 10. And the Soviet player has 1 cat point left. So he spends his 1 cat point. And he gets to drop that to a 9. One of these days, they're going to roll really well. Which might be right now. So he needs to roll a 9. He rolls an 8. Ah, they are coming so close. All right. Now he shot, so he needs to roll a 5 or higher not to be stressed. He rolls a 7, so that's remarkably good. He's above above average on the stress meter there. They're not spent, whatever you want to call it. He's done like 2 fire actions now and is still not spent. That means in the old system, if you were doing variable action points, he has a lot of action points. So he did very well for himself. Alright, so then it goes back to the German player. Now I do have a fresh or spent unit may take 1 free action of any cost. So the German player is going to go ahead and spend his card, and might as well, let's do it. And then they're going to shoot, so it's a free action. They'll get the stress, but it's a free action. So we're looking at 13 defense. They have a 5 firepower, so that drops that to 8. And we're going to spend the 2 cap points. 1, 2. Drops that to a 6. Roll 2 dice. 6. Oh, rolled a 5. Just short by 1. Been doing that a lot. They can't be spent, but they do get the stress. So stress transfers over for them. Takes the stress off of that guy. Then it's back to the Soviets here. What does the Soviet player have? They had adrenaline. A spent unit may take... Well, you know what? We're not at that point yet. Line of sight blocked. Yes, they will do it. A spent unit may take 1 free action. So the Soviet player, well, if you can do it, we'll do it. And they're going to fire with this guy. And that's going to be 14 on the defense, and they have a firepower of 3, so that brings that to 11. We have no caps, so it's kind of a close shot, but yeah, we got to roll 12 here, or 11 or 12. 6. I thought I would give it a shot, but that brings the stress over here to this Soviet player. So a lot of firefights going on here. I did that because that'll give him an AP point back, kind of a deal. Okay, so then it goes back to the German player. So this guy is going to open up here. Yeah, because he can't see through the woods. So he'll shoot. Defense of 12. They're also in a wood building, so that gives them 13. And then firepower 5 drops it to 8. 8, 8, 8. And I've got 1 cap left, so we're going to go ahead and spin that cap and put this on a 7. So there's my lucky number. Well, wait a minute. I'm on the 2 right now. I'm going to spin 2. 2, 2. And I'm going to bring that to 6. Never mind. I got it down to 6. All right, here we go. Roll really high. Rolled a 7. Well, we would have been good with spinning 1 cap, but I spent 2. So now we've hurt that unit in the building. Oh, you know what? Oh, they haven't shot since they've been wounded. Never mind. Oh, yeah, I think they did shoot after they were wounded, and I forgot to apply their wounded stuff, maybe. Maybe. All right, here we go. But this one is just stunned. Well, that's actually a pretty big deal. No shooting, no moving. So, there you go. No combat. And 7 if they want to fix that. Okay, so then back to the Soviet player. So I could try to rally that, or yeah, because they can only shoot 1. Alright, I did have a slight interruption, and I did leave it that it was the Soviets' turn, so I think the Soviet player was going to fire here to here. Yeah, hopefully I didn't miss anything. I thought maybe this guy was going to shoot. Oh, he was. Actually, he was about to shoot, wasn't he? I don't think he fired. Yeah. He rolled the 7. Oh, yeah, he did. Yep. And then he stunned that dude. And let's check to see if he goes out. He needs to roll a 4 or higher to stay fresh. He rolls a 4. He's still fresh. He gets the stress. Now it flips to the Soviet player side. They're going to... I might have forgot to do that part. This guy here, though, he's going to try to recover. So he's going to spin. I think maybe that's where I left off. I I think I might have forgotten to check if they were spent or not, because I think they just wounded them. So it's a good thing I double checked that just in case. And then they're going to roll. They need to roll 8 or higher to get rid of Cowering. They rolled a 10. All right, so they get rid of the Cowering, and they will. It's a 5, so they roll a 6 or a 7 to stay fresh. Nope, they're spent though, but they are safe for the moment because another hit and they would have been eliminated. And then these guys had a moment to rest, and then the stress goes over here since they didn't do back-to-back actions. German player is going to move an infantry unit here using the wheat field as stealth. And they need to roll a 2 or higher to stay fresh. They rolled a 2. Whew. Yeah, because it's only 1 movement point to move. So they're fine. But they now get the stress. And then it's over to the Soviet player side. I forgot to flip that for the German player, but flip that. It's now the Soviet player's turn, and we use the cards, and this unit is fresh. So we'll bring on the Satchel guy, and Satchel unit comes onto the road. They come onto the road. It's a 0 action point, so they aren't spent, but they do get the stress. So we'll put the stress over there, and then back to the Germans. They're going to shoot again, and they're going to try to eliminate that unit. I have no more cap points to spend for them, so it'll just be a straight up defense. It's wood, 12, so they start with a 13. They have a firepower of 5, so it's 8. They got to roll an 8 or higher. I got no cap points to adjust it, so we're going to... I probably could have moved forward 1, check to see if they were stayed fresh, and then I could have fired to get an adjacent shot, which would add 3 to the firepower. I'm at an 8 right now. Let's go for it. 7. Oh, I'm failing by 1 quite often. All right, they need to. It's 3 action points. They need to roll a 4 or higher to stay fresh. They are fresh, so maybe I will do the move. But they get the stress. They rested that turn, and then they did action. So if they do back to back, that reminds me. Soviet player is going to. What's he gonna do? What's he gonna do? I can move him in here, but then if I attack, boy, but he wants to stay here because he knows people are coming. I'll just move the Satchel guy because the odds of him. Oh, I gotta face him a direction. He came on, so he moved onto the board. He's facing that direction. And he needs to roll a 2 or higher to stay fresh. He rolls a 6, so he's fresh. Oh, he needs to roll a 3 or higher because he's got the stress on him. He rolled a 6, so they're fine. Then it flips back to the German side. I forgot to flip it, but flips to the German side. They're going to move. Boop. And turn. You know what? They're gonna keep going this way for a second. So they need to roll a 2 or higher to stay fresh. They roll a 3. They get the stress. Soviet player is going to move again and then turn. They're following the road. And they have the stress, so they need a 3 or higher to stay fresh. Rolled their 3. They're still good. They retain on the stress. They're going to fire again. They need an 8 to hit the target. I already remember the math. No cap points to spend. Yeah, we'll do it. I could move because nobody can shoot him right now. Let's move. We're going to move adjacent, and we're going to roll to see if we stay fresh. And I know it's kind of it's always a bit of risk there, but they need to roll a 2 or higher. They rolled a 6. That's the hero unit for the moment. So they take their stress. And Soviet player goes. And they're running. They're trying to get into the building because they're going to start getting victory points at the end of the turn by having him in that building. And so to get there, they need to roll 3 or higher. They rolled a 3, so he's still good. He keeps the stress back to the German side. And the German player is feeling pretty plucky, so he's going to go ahead and He'll do it. He's going to go ahead and fire from here. Now, it's 8 on the basic math because it's 12 defense. Well, no, sorry, 13 defense minus the 5 firepower brings it down to an 8, and then 3 because we're adjacent, so that makes it a 5. I gotta roll higher than 5. Rolled a 5. Woo! We did it. But that eliminates the unit though, so they're eliminated. Soviets lose 1 more action point, and now this player, it's 3 action points to fire plus 1 for stress. He needs to roll a 5 or higher to stay fresh. And he rolls the 5. Hero units, those guys are crazy good. Alright, this guy's moving right along. So he moves, and he needs to roll, because he's just moving. There's a chance we could roll a 1, but he's stressed, so he needs to roll a 3 or higher to stay in the game, and he does. So that's a hero unit right now. He's booking. That guy is running. German player. He's going to move this one, and it's going to stay fresh on a 2 or higher. What do we roll? A 3. So they're still fresh. They get the stress. Back to the Soviet player. He's moving into the building. It's an extra point, but it's 2 movement points to move into the building plus 1 because he's got the stress. So he needs a 4 or higher to stay. And he's in the building. It's probably not a bad thing that he is in the building now and is spent, because that's where he wanted to go anyway. But he retains the stress, so other people will have to do something now. Alright, well that that brings us back to the German player. I do have, I could move into this building and then it would be adjacent fire, and I don't know if I want to do that, because that would give them a real good chance of hitting. But we're out here in the open, so part of me, and then if I move onto the road, it's just a clear line of sight. So I think what we'll do is move. That's tough because we got to get in here to crack that. That is a tough decision. Because I think it's pretty much suicide to move in here. But they don't have cap points. So what do you think? Do we go? Or do we push here and come around? I don't know. That it's going to be, I think we got to take this. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. Okay, so we move in. It's 2 action points to move in. They weren't stressed, so I got to roll a 3 or higher to stay fresh. Oh, they're spent. That's not quite what I wanted. But now the Soviet player sees an opportunity. Why wouldn't we shoot? So they're going to go ahead and fire. There's a defense of 12 plus 1. It's 13 because of the woods. 12, yeah, 13 minus 4 brings it to a 9. Yeah, 9. They're adjacent, so that makes it a 6. Okay. They got the 6. Yeah, I was a little bit afraid of that. I knew that would happen, but I thought maybe, I guess now I can push up with the infantry, especially if they get spent. It's the sacrificial Panzer Grenadiers, I guess. And they're suppressed. That's not as bad as it could be. But still, if they get hit one more time, they're out. So now they're going to roll to see if they're spent. They need to roll a 5 or higher to stay fresh. They roll a 1, so they're spent. And we've already used up our cards. And that's kind of what I was hoping, because now I can bring on some Germans. Because now it's Soviet player, it is German player side, and here they come. So they come on here to the wheat field, and we're going to roll. I need a 2 or higher to stay active. He rolled a 7. Stress goes here. Soviet player sees there's a lot happening here, but likes covering the wood and covering his buddy. That might be the place to be. And they got to cover this area a bit. Yeah, so I think he's going to stay here. They're going to come this way, though. So does he want to move up? This machine gun might want to move so he can move into this building. That way, as people try to move up, they got a nice machine gun to have to face. So let's do that. They're going to pack up their machine gun and move. We're just going to make this a game of mobility this time. So they're going to stay, it's 2 points to move because they have a big machine gun to carry around. So they're going to stay fresh on a 3 or higher. And they stay fresh. And they get the stress because he had a moment to rest and now he's done an activity. We got to be careful because he might get stuck in the open road. So he might move into that building and just go across buildings. That way if he does get spent, at least he's inside protection. Alright, German player is going to come this way and turn his facing. Stays active on a 2 or higher. Rolls the magical 2 because it's only 1 move point. And they get the stress. Back to the Soviet player. He moves into the building. That's 3 move points, so he needs a 4 or higher. 4 or higher to stay fresh, and he does get spent. I figured something like that would happen, but that's exactly what. Oh, and he also had the stress on him. So that's why I put him in the building, because if you're gonna go kaput, might as well go kaput inside of a building. Gives you a little bit of protection. Now at this point, it's just purely going to be the Germans moving into position because we're out of cap points for the Soviet player. So I'm just going to have to make the rolls as they move. Just going to go kind of back and forth. So this unit will move and he's got to stay fresh on a 2 or higher. Gets the stress. They're going to go ahead and move this way. Take advantage of everybody being spent. And they stay on a 2 or higher. They're good. He gets the stress. And that's why I'm alternating them, because then they get that moment to rest. So, you know, this would be a good example. You might say, well, isn't that gaming the game? It is, but it's also a tactic called like bounding fire, right? This person kind of leaps ahead. They provide cover fire. So they go back and forth. That's what they're doing. So he's going to come out here. Oh, you know what? I got to face them in the right direction. I brought him on the board. I'm going to run backwards. Whoops. I got to get in there. Okay, so they stay fresh. Oh, I rolled. I haven't even moved them yet. I'm just trying to think, like, do I want to come around and then those guys go that way? I think we'll do that. We'll come up the road so they stay good. Soviet player passes. So the German player goes, and they need a 2 or higher to stay good. Roll a 5. Then they come around and turn because they're spent. 3, they're still active, and they get it. Now you might say, I know in some games they're like, wait, so they can see them? Not necessarily. Spent could also mean that they're hunkered down because they've just been in a fight. Maybe they're kind of hunkered down. They don't know that these guys are coming. Because it's not like they're running down the road saying, hey, we're coming down the road. They're using terrain and things to their advantage to not be seen. So just because I can see them, that doesn't mean the guys in this building know that they're coming. Because they're trying to be sneaky to come around and flank, right? All right, here they go. They move up. Now, they got to roll that 2 or higher. Because it's only 1 movement point. Oh, they rolled a 1. I knew that was going to happen at some point. And boom, right there. Not necessarily where you want to be when you stall, but there they are. All right. This guy moves into the building. So it's 2 movement points. So they need a 3 or higher to stay fresh. They roll the 5. They're fresh, but they now get the stress. And then they're going to fire. So it is firepower. Well, the defender is still in a wood building. So plus this is now on their flank. This is on their backside. So they get the 11 defense plus 1. So it starts at a 12. They have a firepower 4, so it's down to 8. And then because it's adjacent, that's now a 5. So we got 5s to hit. And they rolled a 5, just what they needed. That's why we went ahead and rushed in there. So they're going to get a wound. Coward. All right. I got to change out the battery and we'll be right back. Okay, and we're back. So I put cowering underneath them. We're going to check to see if they get spent. It's 3 action points to fire. They got the stress. It's a 4. They need a 5 or higher to stay fresh. They rolled a 1, and they're now spent. And that would make sense because they moved quite a bit, and they fired. So that used up quite a bit of action points. They stay stressed. Okay, so that's the end of that very action-packed turn. So hard to say if yeah, it's looking like this might go for the Germans. I don't remember when I played last time if the Soviets won, because I thought they did, because it was like, well, I'm only starting with 2 units, and then I got 2 more, but maybe we just had some better dice. I don't know. I don't remember how it went last time, but right now I'm feeling pretty good for the Germans. So we'll see how this goes. So we got to do the end of turn thing real quick. That's 9.4 of the rule book. That's pre-round sequence. So there's ending the round. We did kill another Soviet unit. So that does give the Germans 1 more victory point that I don't want to forget about. And the game is still going. So now we're going to go through the pre-round sequence. So we advance it. It's now turn 3. Oh, but it is the end of the turn, and the Soviet player has the Satchel Courier in one of the buildings. So that's actually a victory point for the Soviet player. Now that still leaves 1 victory point in favor of the German player. So the German player is going to definitely have to push in there on this turn and clear that out if they want to secure the victory. Otherwise, the Soviet player is just going to be collecting victory points and definitely win. So the Germans are pushing in. No smoke to worry about. Flip all spent units to their fresh side. So we'll go ahead and take off the stress. And everybody gets flipped because they are now ready to go. Catching their breath. A lull in the action. Flippity flip, flip, flip. Flip. 1 more flip. Alright, then we reset the caps. They haven't lost a German yet, so they go back to 6 caps. Soviet player is now down 2 units, so they're going to go to 4 cap points. Then draw a battle card. Okay, German player draws a battle card. They get Follow Me. Automatically rally a unit, even if in a hex with an enemy unit or the hit marker has a no rally condition. Looks like it's 2 action points to do. Alright, perfect. Which I've got someone to rally, so that's automatic rally. Might spin the unit, but at least it's cheaper than the 5. So, good. Frontline officer, this is for the Soviet player. Plus 1 die 6 caps. Okay. So roll 1 die 6 and add the result to your caps track for use this round only. I think I gotta play this on a unit because that's like the cap cost, if I remember right. And so the frontline officer there is like calling in reinforcements, I suppose. I'll have to double check real quick on if that's the cost. So if it is, because the Follow Me had that too. So that means like somebody could get spent calling in, but to get 1 1 die 6 extra caps for just this turn, that's actually could be very beneficial because they're down 2. So that was a very good card for the Soviet player to draw. Awesome. Then we check for reinforcements. There's no more reinforcements for this. This is what we have on the board is it. We don't have any more artillery strikes. We don't really have any to resolve. Roll for initiative. German player still has the initiative. So Soviet player is going to roll to see if they steal it. They need to get 7 or higher. They could spend cap points for it to take the initiative. I think they will, and I'll tell you why. Because they can roll for 1 die 6 caps. But if they get the initiative, they're in a bad spot right here, and they want to make sure that they can shoot first and maybe eliminate that unit. So they're going to spend 2 cap points. Fortune favors the bold, and now they need to roll a 5 or higher to take the initiative. And they take it. They would have got it, but they guaranteed that they got it. So I'm going to flip my little thing here for initiative. I'm going to make sure if there's an initiative one I might be overlooking. And they will take the initiative. Great, we're all set up for turn 3. Thanks for watching turn 2. Hope you found that enjoyable, but I really appreciate you watching, and I will see you on the next turn.